Chapter 29. These are the words of the covenant which Yahuwah commanded Moshe to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. And Moshe called all Israel and said to them, You yourselves saw all that Yahuwah did before your eyes in the land of Mitzrayim, to Pharaoh and to all his servants and to all his land. Your eyes saw the great trials, the signs, and those great wonders. But Yahuwah has not given you a heart to know, and eyes to see, and ears to hear, till this day. And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your garments have not worn out on you, and your sandals have not worn out on your feet. You ate no bread and drank no wine nor strong drink, so that you might know that I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. And when you came to this place, Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon, and Og, sovereign of Bashan, came out against us to battle. And we struck them, and took their land, and gave it as an inheritance to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh. Therefore you shall guard the words of this covenant, and do them, so that you prosper in all that you do. All of you are standing today before Yahuwah your Elohim, your leaders, your tribes, your elders, and your officers, all the men of Yisrael, your little ones, your wives, and your sojourner, who is in the midst of your camp, from the one who cuts your wood to the one who draws your water, so that you should enter into covenant with Yahuwah your Elohim, and into his oath, which Yahuwah your Elohim makes with you today, in order to establish you today as a people for himself, and he himself be your Elohim, as he has spoken to you, and as he has sworn to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and Jacob. And not with you alone am I making this covenant and this oath, but with him who stands here with us today, before Yahuwah our Elohim, as well as with him who is not here with us today. For you know how we dwelt in the land of Mitzrayim, and how we passed through the nations which you passed through, and you saw their abominations, and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were with them, lest there should be among you a man or woman, or clan or tribe whose heart turns away today from Yahuwah our Elohim to go and serve the mighty ones of these nations, lest there should be among you a root bearing bitterness or wormwood. And it shall be when he hears the words of this curse, that he should bless himself in his heart, saying, I have peace, though I walk in the stubbornness of my heart, in order to add drunkenness to thirst. Yahuwah would not forgive him, but rather the displeasure of Yahuwah and his jealousy shall burn against that man, and every curse that is written in this book shall settle on him. And Yahuwah shall blot out his name from under the heavens. And Yahuwah shall separate him for evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the Torah. And the generation to come of your children who rise up after you, and the foreigner who comes from a far land, shall say when they see the plagues of that land, and the sickness which Yahuwah has sent into it, all its land is sulfur, salt, and burning. It is not sown, nor does it bear, nor does any grass grow there, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which Yahuwah overthrew in his displeasure and his wrath. And all nations shall say, Why has Yahuwah done so to this land? What does the heat of this great displeasure mean? And it shall be said, Because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahuwah, Elohim of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. And they went and served other mighty ones, and bowed themselves to them, mighty ones that they did not know, and that he had not given to them. Therefore the displeasure of Yahuwah burned against this land, to bring on it every curse that is written in this book. And Yahuwah uprooted them from their land in displeasure and in wrath, and in great rage, and cast them into another land, as it is today. The secret matters belong to Yahuwah, our Elohim, but what is revealed belong to us and to our children forever, to do all the words of this Torah. Chapter 30. And it shall be when all these words come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall bring them back to your heart among all the nations where Yahuwah, your Elohim, drives you, and shall turn back to Yahuwah, your Elohim, and obey his voice, according to all that I command you today, with all your heart and with all your being, you and your children. Then Yahuwah, your Elohim, shall turn back your captivity and shall have compassion on you. And he shall turn back and gather you from all the peoples where Yahuwah, your Elohim, has scattered you. If any of you are driven out to the farthest parts under the heavens, from there Yahuwah, your Elohim, does gather you, and from there he does take you. Yahuwah, your Elohim, shall bring you to the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he shall do good to you, and increase you more than your fathers. And Yahuwah, your Elohim, shall circumcise your heart, and the heart of your seed, to love Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your being, so that you might live. And Yahuwah, your Elohim, shall put all these curses on your enemies, and on those who hate you, who persecuted you. And you shall turn back and obey the voice of Yahuwah, and do all his commands which I command you today. And Yahuwah your Elohim shall make you have excess in all the work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your ground for good. For Yahuwah turns back to rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers, if you obey the voice of Yahuwah your Elohim, to guard his commands and his laws which are written in this book of the Torah. If you turn back to Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, for this command which I command you today is not too hard for you, nor is it far off. It is not in the heavens to say, who shall ascend unto the heavens for us, and bring it to us, and cause us to hear it so that we do it? Nor is it beyond the sea to say, who shall go over the sea for us, and bring it to us, and cause us to hear it so that we do it? For the word is very near you, in your mouth and in your heart, to do it. See, I have set before you today life and good, and death and evil, in that I am commanding you today to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to guard his commands and his laws and his right rulings. And you shall live and increase, and Yahuwah your Elohim shall bless you in the land which you go to possess. But if your heart turns away, and you do not obey, and shall be drawn away, and shall bow down to other mighty ones, and serve them, I have declared to you today that you shall certainly perish. You shall not prolong your days in the land which you are passing over the Yarden to enter and possess. I have called the heavens and the earth as witnesses today against you. I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Therefore you shall choose life, so that you live, both you and your seed, to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to obey his voice and to cling to him, for he is your life and the length of your days, to dwell in the land which Yahuwah swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov, to give them. Chapter 31. And Moshe went and spoke these words to all Yisrael. And he said to them, I am 120 years old today. I am no longer able to go out and come in. And Yahuwah has said to me, you do not pass over this Yarden. Yahuwah your Elohim himself is passing over before you. He shall destroy these nations from before you, and you possess them. Yahshua himself is passing over before you, as Yahuwah has spoken. And Yahuwah shall do to them as he did to Sihon and to Og, the sovereigns of the Amorites, and their land, when he destroyed them. And Yahuwah shall give them over to you, and you shall do to them according to all the command which I have commanded you. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear, nor be afraid of them, for it is Yahuwah your Elohim who is going with you. He does not fail you nor forsake you. Then Moshe called Yahshua and said to him before the eyes of all Israel, Be strong and courageous, for you are going with this people to the land which Yahuwah has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you are to let them inherit it. And it is Yahuwah who is going before you. He himself is with you. He does not fail you nor forsake you. Do not fear nor be discouraged. And Moshe wrote this Torah and gave it to the priests, the sons of Levi, who bore the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, and to all the elders of Israel. And Moshe commanded them, saying, At the end of 7 years, at the appointed time, the year of release, at the festival of Sukkot, when all Yisrael comes to appear before Yahuwah your Elohim, in the place where he chooses, read this Torah before all Yisrael in their hearing. Assemble the people, the men and the women, and the little ones, and your sojourner who is within your gates, so that they hear, and so that they learn to fear Yahuwah your Elohim, and guard to do all the words of this Torah. And their children, who have not known it, should hear and learn to fear Yahuwah your Elohim, as long as you live in the land you are passing over the Yarden to possess. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, See, the days have drawn near for you to die. Call Yahshua and present yourself in the tent of appointment, so that I command him. And Moshe and Yahshua went and presented themselves in the tent of appointment. And Yahuwah appeared at the tent in the column of a cloud, and the column of a cloud stood above the door of the tent. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, See, you are about to sleep with your fathers, and this people shall rise and whore after the mighty ones of the foreigners of the land into the midst of which they shall enter, and forsake me, and break my covenant which I have made with them. Then my displeasure shall burn against them in that day, and I shall forsake them, and hide my face from them, and they shall be consumed. And many evils and distresses shall come upon them, and it shall be said in that day, It is not because Yahuwah our Elohim is not in our midst, that these evils have come upon us. And I shall certainly hide my face in that day, because all the evil which they have done, for they shall turn to other mighty ones. And now write down this song for yourselves, and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, so that the song is to me for a witness against the children of Israel. And I shall bring them to the land flowing with milk and honey, of which I swore to their fathers, and they shall eat and be satisfied, and be fat. Then they shall turn to other mighty ones, and they shall serve them, and scorn me, and break my covenant. And it shall be, when many evils and distresses come upon them, that this song shall answer before them as a witness. For it is not to be forgotten in the mouths of their seed, for I know their thoughts which they are forming today, even before I bring them to the land of which I swore to give them. And Moshe wrote this song the same day, and taught it to the children of Israel. And he commanded Yahshua son of Nun, and said, Be strong and courageous, for you are to bring the children of Israel into the land of which I swore to them, and I myself am with you. And it came to be, when Moshe completed writing the words of this Torah in a book until their completion, that Moshe commanded the Levites who bore the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, saying, Take this book of the Torah, and you shall place it beside the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah your Elohim, and it shall be there as a witness against you. For I myself know that your rebellion and your stiff neck, see, while I am still alive with you today, you have been rebellious against Yahuwah. Then how much more after my death? Assemble unto me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, so that I speak these words in their hearing, and call the heavens and the earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death you shall do very corruptly, and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you. And evil shall come to you in the latter days, because you do what is evil in the eyes of Yahuwah, to provoke him through the work of your hands." So Moshe spoke in the hearing of all the assembly of Israel the words of this song till their completion. Chapter 32. Give ear, O heavens, and let me speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Let my instructions fall as rain, my speech drop down as dew, as fine rain on the tender plants, and as showers on the grass. For I proclaim the name of Yahuwah. Ascribe greatness to our Elohim, the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are right ruling. An El of truth and without unrighteousness. Righteous and straight is he. A twisted and crooked generation has corrupted itself. Their blemish, they are not his children. Do you do this to Yahuwah, O foolish and unwise people? Is he not your father who bought you, who created you and established you? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father and let him show you, your elders and let them say to you, when the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the boundaries of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the portion of Yahuwah is his people, Jacob his allotted inheritance. He found him in a wilderness and in a wasted, howling desert. He encompassed him. He made him understand. He watched over him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirs up its nest, flutters over its young, spreading out its wings, taking them up, bearing them on its pinion. Yahuwah alone led him, and there was no foreign mighty one with him. He made him ride in the heights of the earth, and he ate the fruit of the fields. And he made him to draw honey from the rock, and oil from the flinty rock, curds from the cattle, and milk of the flock with the fat of lambs, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats with the choicest wheat. And you drank wine, the blood of grapes. But Yeshurun grew fat and kicked. You grew fat, you grew thick. You are covered with fat. So he forsook Elohah, who made him, and scorned the rock of his deliverance. They moved him to jealousy with strange matters. With abominations they provoked him. They slaughtered to demons, not Eloah. Mighty ones they did not know, new ones who came lately, which your fathers did not fear. You neglected the rock who brought you forth, and forgot the El who fathered you. And Yahuwah saw and despised, because of the provocation of his sons and his daughters. And he said, Let me hide my face from them. Let them see what their end is, for they are a perverse generation, children in whom there is no trusting. They made me jealous by what is not El. They provoked me with their worthless matters. But I make them jealous by those who are no people. I provoke them with a foolish nation. For a fire was kindled in my wrath, and burns to the bottom of Sheol, and consumes the earth in its increase, and sets on fire the foundations of mountains. I gathered evils upon them. I use up my arrows upon them, wasted by scarcity of food, and consumed by heat and bitter destruction. And the teeth of beasts I send upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. The sword bereaves from the outside and fear from within, both young man and maiden, nursing child with the man of gray hairs. I said I should blow them away. I should make them the remembrance of them to cease from among men. If I did not fear the enemy's taunt, lest their adversaries misunderstand, lest they say, Our hand is high, and Yahuwah has not done all this. For they are a nation lost to counsel, and there is no understanding in them. If they were wise, they would understand this. They would consider their latter end. How would one chase 1,000, and two put 10,000 to flight, unless their rock had sold them, and Yahuwah had given them up? For their rock is not like our rock, Even our enemies are judges. Their vine is the vine of Sodom, and the fields of Amorah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. Their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poisons of serpents, and the fierce venom of dragons. Is it not stored up with me, sealed up among my treasures? Vengeance is mine, and repayment at the time their foot slips, for near is the day of their calamity, and the matters prepared are hastening to them. For Yahuwah rightly rules his people, and has compassion on his servants. When he sees that their power is gone, and that there is no one remaining, shut up or large. And he shall say, Where are their mighty ones? The rock in whom they sought refuge, who ate the fat of their slaughterings and drank the wine of their drink offerings. Let them arise and help you. Let it be a hiding place for you. See now that I am he, and there is no Elohim beside me. I put to death, and I make alive. I have wounded, and I heal, and from my hand no one delivers. For I lift my hand to the heavens, and shall say, As I live forever, if I have sharpened my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment, I shall return vengeance to my enemies, and repay those who hate me. I make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword devours flesh, with the blood of the slain and with the captives, from the long-haired enemy chiefs. O nations, acclaim his people, for he avenges the blood of his servants, and returns vengeance to his adversaries, and shall pardon his land, his people. Then Moshe came with Hosea, son of Nun, and spoke all the words of this song in the hearing of the people. And when Moshe ended speaking all the words to all Yisrael, he said to them, Set your heart on all the words with which I warn you today, so that you command your children to guard to do all the words of this Torah. For it is not a worthless word for you, because it is your life. And by this word you prolong your days on the soil which you pass over the Yarden to possess. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe that same day, saying, Go up this mountain of the Abarim, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, which is opposite Jericho, and look at the land of Canaan, which I give to the children of Israel as a possession, and die on the mountain which you ascend, and be gathered to your people as Aharon your brother died on Mount Hor, and was gathered to his people. Because you trespassed against me in the midst of the children of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin. Because you did not set me apart in the midst of the children of Israel. For you are to look at the land before you, but not enter there, into the land which I am giving to the children of Israel. Chapter 33. And this is the blessing with which Moshe, the man of Elohim, blessed the children of Israel before his death. And he said, Yahuwah came from Sinai, and rose from Seir for them. He shone forth from Mount Paran, and came with 10,000s of his set-apart ones. At his right hand a law of fire for them. Indeed, he loves the people. All his set-apart ones are in your hand, and they sat down at your feet, receiving your words. Moshe commanded us a Torah, an inheritance of the assembly of Yaakov. And he was sovereign in Yeshurun, when the heads of the people were gathered, the tribes of Yisrael. Let Reuben live and not die, and let his men be numbered. And this of Yehudah. And he said, Hear, Yahuwah, the voice of Yehudah, and bring him to his people. His hand shall fight for him, and you be a help against his enemies. And of Levi he said, Your Tumim and your Urim belong to your loving committed one, whom you tried at Massah, with whom you contended at the waters of Meribah, who said of his father and mother, I have not seen them. And he did not acknowledge his brothers or know his own children, for they have guarded your word and watched over your covenant. They teach your right rulings to Yaakov and your Torah to Yisrael. They put incense before you and complete ascending offerings on your slaughter place. O Yahuwah, bless his strength, and accept the work of his hands. Smite the loins of those who rise against him, and of those who hate him, that they rise no more. Of Benjamin he said, Let the beloved of Yahuwah dwell in safety by him, shielding him all the day, as he dwells between his shoulders. And of Joseph he said, Blessed of Yahuwah is his land, with the choicest from the heaven, with the dew and the deep lying beneath, with the choice fruits of the sun, with the choice yield of the months, with the finest of the ancient mountains, with the choicest of the everlasting hills, with the choicest of the earth and all that fills it, and the good pleasure of him who dwelt in the bush. Let it come on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him who is separate from his brothers. His splendor is like a firstborn bull, and his horns are like the horns of the wild ox. With them he pushes the people to the ends of the earth, and they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. And of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, O Zebulun, in your going out, and Issachar in your tents. They call peoples to the mountain. There they slaughter slaughterings of righteousness, for they draw from the riches of the seas and the treasures hidden in the sand. And of Gad he said, Blessed is he who enlarges Gad. He dwells as a lion, and shall tear off the arm, also the crown. And he chose the best for himself, for there the portion of the inscriber was hidden. When he came with the heads of the people, the righteousness of Yahuwah he did, and his right rulings with Israel. And of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's cub that leaps from Bashan. And of Naphtali he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with pleasure and filled with the blessings of Yahuwah, possess the west and the south. And of Asher he said, Asher is most blessed of sons. Let him be accepted by his brothers and dip his foot in oil. Your sandals are iron and bronze, and your strength as your days. O Yeshurun, there is no one like El, riding the heavens to help you, and on the clouds in his excellency. The Elohim of old is a refuge, and beneath are everlasting arms. And he drives out the enemy from before you and says, Destroy! Thus Yisrael dwells in safety, the fountain of Jacob alone, in a land of grain and new wine. His heavens also drop down dew. Blessed are you, O Yisrael. Who is like you, a people saved by Yahuwah, the shield of your help, and he who is the sword of your excellency. And your enemies are subdued for you, and you tread down their high places. Chapter 34. And Moshe went up from the desert plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, which is opposite Jericho. And Yahuwah showed him all the land of Gilead as far as Dan, and all Naphtali and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, all the land of Yehudah as far as the western sea, and the Negeb, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees as far as Zoar. And Yahuwah said to him, This is the land which I swore to Abraham, to Yitzhak and Yaakov, saying, To your seed I give it. I have let you look at it with your eyes, but you do not pass over there. And Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, died there in the land of Moab, according to the mouth of Yahuwah. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor. And no one knows his burial place to this day. And Moshe was 120 years old when he died. His eyes were not dim, nor his freshness gone. And the children of Israel wept for Moshe in the desert plains of Moab 30 days. And the days of weeping and mourning for Moshe were completed. And Yeshua, son of Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom, for Moshe had laid his hands on him. And the children of Israel listened to him, and did as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. And since then, no prophet has arisen in Israel like Moshe, whom Yahuwah knew face to face. For all the signs and wonders which Yahuwah sent him to do in the land of Mitzrayim, before Pharaoh, and before all his servants, and in all his land, and for all that strong hand and all the great fearsome deeds which Moshe did before the eyes of all Yisrael. The Book of Joshua. Chapter 1. And it came to be after the death of Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, that Yahuwah spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, the assistant of Moshe, saying, Moshe, my servant, is dead. So now arise, pass over this Yarden, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving to them, to the children of Israel. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads, I have given to you, as I spoke to Moshe. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of Hittites, and to the great sea toward the going down of the sun is your border. No man is going to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moshe, so I am with you. I do not fail you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you are to let this people inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, to guard to do according to all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, so that you act wisely wherever you go. Do not let this book of the Torah depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you guard to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous, and act wisely. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, nor be discouraged, for Yahweh your Elohim is with you wherever you go. And Yeshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the midst of the camp, and command the people, saying, Prepare food for yourselves, for within 3 days you are passing over this Yarden, to go in to possess the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess. And Yeshua spoke to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to half the tribe of Manasseh, saying, Remember the word which Moshe, servant of Yahweh, commanded you, saying, Yahweh your Elohim is giving you rest, and he shall give you this land. Let your wives, your little ones, and your livestock stay in the land which Moshe gave you beyond the Yarden. But you shall pass before your brothers in fives, all your brave fighters, and shall help them, until Yahweh has given your brothers rest. As unto you, so shall they also take possession of the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving them. Then you shall return to the land of your possession, and shall possess that which Moshe, the servant of Yahweh, gave you beyond the Yarden, toward the rising of the sun. And they answered Yeshua, saying, All that you have commanded us, we do, and wherever you send us, we go. According to all that we obeyed Moshe, so we obey you. Only let Yahweh your Elohim be with you, as he was with Moshe. Whoever rebels against your mouth and does not obey your words in all that you command him is put to death. Only be strong and courageous. Chapter 2. And Yeshua son of Nun secretly sent out 2 men from Shittim to spy, saying, Go, see the land in Jericho. And they went and came to the house of a woman, a whore, and her name was Rahab. And they lay down there. But it was reported to the sovereign of Jericho, saying, See, men from the children of Israel have come here tonight to search out the land. And the sovereign of Jericho sent to Rahab, saying, Bring out the men who have come to you, who have entered your house, for they have come to search out all the land. But the woman had taken the 2 men and hid them. So she said, The men came to me, but I did not know where they were from. Then it came to be as the gate was being shut when it was dark that the men went out. I do not know where the men went. Pursue them quickly so that you overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof and hidden them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid out on the roof.
And the men pursued them by the way of the Yarden to the fords, and they shut the gate afterwards as soon as the pursuers had gone out. And before they lay down, she came up to them on the roof. And she said to the men, I know that Yahuwah has given you the land, and that the fear of you has fallen on us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt away because of you. For we have heard how Yahuwah dried up the water of the sea of reeds for you when you came out of Mitzrayim, and what you did to the two sovereigns of the Amorites, who were beyond the Yarden, Sihon and Og, whom you put under the ban. And when we heard, our hearts melted, and there was no spirit left in anyone because of you. For Yahuwah your Elohim, He is Elohim in the heavens above and on the earth beneath. And now please swear to me by Yahuwah, since I have shown you loving commitment, that you also show loving commitment to my father's house, and shall give me a true token, and shall spare my father and my mother and my brothers and my sisters, and all that they have, and shall deliver our lives from death. And the men said to her, Our lives for yours. If you do not expose this matter of ours, then it shall be, when Yahuwah has given us the land, that we shall treat you in loving commitment and truth. So she let them down by a rope through the window, for her house was on the city wall, and she dwelt on the wall. And she said to them, Go to the mountain, lest the pursuers come upon you, and you shall hide there 3 days, until the pursuers have returned, and afterwards go on your way. And the men said to her, We are released from this oath of yours which you have made us swear, unless, when we come into the land, you bind this line of scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down, and unless you bring your father and your mother and your brothers and all your father's household to your own home. And it shall be that anyone who goes outside the doors of your house into the street, his blood is on his own head, and we are innocent. And anyone who is with you in the house, his blood is on our head, if a hand is laid on him. And if you expose this matter of ours, then we shall be released from your oath which you made us swear. And she said, Let it be according to your words. And she sent them away, and they went. And she bound the scarlet cord in the window. So they left and came to the mountain, and stayed there 3 days, until the pursuers returned. And the pursuers sought them in all the way, but did not find them. Then the 2 men returned and came down from the mountain, and passed over. And they came to Yahshua the son of Nun, and related to him all that had befallen them. And they said to Yahshua, Truly Yahuwah has given all the land into our hands, and also all the inhabitants of the land have melted away because of us. Chapter 3. And Yahshua rose early in the morning, and they set out from Shittim and came to the Yarden, he and all the children of Israel, and stayed there before they passed over. And it came to be after 3 days that the officers went into the midst of the camp, and they commanded the people, saying, When you see the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah your Elohim, and the priests, the Levites, bearing it, then you shall set out from your place and follow it. Only keep a distance between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Do not come near it, so that you know which way to go, for you have not passed over this way before. And Yahshua said to the people, Set yourselves apart, for tomorrow Yahuwah is doing wonders in your midst. And Yahshua spoke to the priests, saying, Take up the ark of the covenant and pass over before the people. So they took up the ark of the covenant and went before the people. And Yahuwah said to Yahshua, This day I begin to make you great before the eyes of all Yisrael, so that they know that I am with you as I was with Moshe. And you command the priests who bear the ark of the covenant, saying, When you come to the edge of the water of the Yarden, stand in the Yarden. And Yahshua said to the children of Israel, Come near, and hear the words of Yahuwah your Elohim. And Yahshua said, By this you shall know that the living El is in your midst, and that he is certainly driving out from before you the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Hivites and the Perizzites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Jebusites. See, the ark of the covenant of the master of all the earth is passing over before you into the Yarden. And now take for yourselves 12 men from the tribes of Israel, 1 man from every tribe. And it shall be, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests who bear the ark of Yahuwah, the master of all the earth, come to rest in the waters of the Yarden, that the waters of the Yarden are cut off, the waters that come down from upstream and stand as a heap. And it came to be when the people set out from their tents to pass over the Yarden, with the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and those bearing the ark came to the Yarden, and the feet of the priest bearing the ark dipped in the edge of the water. Now the Yarden overflows all its banks during all the time of harvest, that the waters which came down from upstream stood still and rose in a heap very far away at Adam, the city that is beside Zarathan. And the waters going down into the sea of Arabah, the salt sea, were completely cut off. And the people passed over opposite Jericho. And the priests bearing the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah stood firm on dry ground in the midst of the Yarden. And all Israel passed over on dry ground until all the nation had completely passed over the Yarden. Chapter 4. And it came to be when the entire nation had completely passed over the Yarden, that Yahuwah spoke to Yahshua, saying, Take for yourselves 12 men from the people, 1 man from every tribe, and command them, saying, Take for yourselves 12 stones from here, out of the midst of the Yarden, from the place where the priest's feet stood firm. And you shall bring them with you, and leave them in the camp in which you spend the night. And Yahshua called the 12 men whom he had appointed from the children of Israel, 1 man from every tribe. And Yahshua said to them, Pass over before the ark of Yahuwah your Elohim into the midst of the Yarden, and each one of you take a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, so that this shall be a sign in your midst, when your children ask you in time to come, saying, What do these stones mean to you? Then you shall answer them that the waters of the Yarden were cut off before the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah. When it passed over the Yarden, the waters of the Yarden were cut off, and these stones shall be for a remembrance to the children of Israel forever. And the children of Israel did so, as Yahshua commanded, and took up 12 stones from the midst of the Yarden, as Yahuwah had spoken to Yahshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and took them over with them to their camp, and laid them down there. Yahshua also set up 12 stones in the midst of the Yarden, in the place where the feet of the priests who bore the ark of the covenant stood, and they are there to this day. And the priests who bore the ark stood in the midst of the Yarden until every matter was finished, that Yahuwah had commanded Yahshua to speak to the people, according to all that Moshe had commanded Yahshua. And the people hastened and passed over. And it came to be when all the people had completely passed over, that the ark of Yahuwah and the priest passed over in the presence of the people. And the sons of Reuben, and the sons of Gad, and half the tribe of Manasseh passed over in 5s before the children of Israel, as Moshe had spoken to them. About 40,000 armed ones of the army passed over before Yahuwah for battle, to the desert plains of Jericho. On that day Yahuwah made Yahshua great before the eyes of all Israel, and they feared him, as they had feared Moshe all the days of his life. And Yahuwah spoke to Yahshua, saying, Command the priests who bear the ark of the witness, and let them come up from the Yarden. And Yahshua commanded the priests, saying, Come up from the Yarden. And it came to be when the priests who bore the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah had come from the midst of the Yarden, and the sole of the priest's feet touched the dry land, that the waters of the Yarden returned to their place, and flowed over all its banks as before. And the people came up from the Yarden on the 10th day of the first new moon, and they camped in Gilgal on the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones which they took out of the Yarden, Yahshua set up in Gilgal. And he said to the children of Israel, saying, When your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What are these stones? Then you shall let your children know, saying, Yisrael passed over this Yarden on dry land. For Yahuwah your Elohim dried up the waters of the Yarden before you until you had passed over, as Yahuwah your Elohim did to the sea of reeds, which he dried up before us until we had passed over, so that all the peoples of the earth shall know the hand of Yahuwah, that it is strong, so that you shall fear Yahuwah your Elohim forever. Chapter 5. And it came to be when all the sovereigns of the Amorites who were beyond the Yarden westward, and all the sovereigns of the Canaanites who were by the sea, heard that Yahuwah had dried up the waters of the Yarden from before the children of Israel until we had passed over, that their hearts melted, and there was no spirit in them any longer because of the children of Israel. At that time, Yahuwah said to Yahshua, Make knives of flint for yourselves, and circumcise the sons of Israel again the second time. So Yahshua made knives of flint for himself, and circumcised the sons of Israel at the hill of foreskins. And this is why Yahshua circumcised them. All the people who came out of Mitzrayim, who were males, all the men of battle, had died in the wilderness on the way, after they had come out of Mitzrayim. For all the people who came out had been circumcised. But all the people who were born in the wilderness, on the way as they came out of Mitzrayim, had not been circumcised. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the nation, the men of battle, who came out of Mitzrayim, were consumed, because they did not obey the voice of Yahuwah, to whom Yahuwah swore not to show them the land which Yahuwah had sworn to their fathers, that he would give us a land flowing with milk and honey. And Yahshua circumcised their sons, whom he raised up in their place, for they were uncircumcised, because they had not been circumcised on the way. And it came to be, when they had completed circumcising all the nation, that they stayed in their places in the camp till they were healed. And Yahuwah said to Yahshua, Today I have rolled away the reproach of Mitzrayim from you. So the name of the place is called Gilgal to this day. And the children of Israel camped in Gilgal, and performed the Pesach on the 14th day of the new moon at evening on the desert plains of Jericho. And they ate of the stored grain of the land on the morrow, after the Pesach, unleavened bread, and roasted grain on this same day. And the manna ceased on the day after they had eaten the stored grain of the land. And the children of Israel no longer had manna, but they ate the food of the land of Canaan that year. And it came to be, when Yahshua was by Jericho, that he lifted his eyes and looked, and saw a man standing opposite him, with his sword drawn in his hand. And Yahshua went to him and said to him, Are you for us or for our adversaries? And he said, No, for I have come as captain of the hosts of Yahuwah. And Yahshua fell on his face to the earth and did obeisance, and said to him, What is my master saying to his servant? And the captain of the host of Yahuwah said to Yahshua, Take your sandal off your foot, for the place where you stand is set apart. And Yahshua did so. Chapter 6. And Jericho was shut up tight because of the presence of the sons of Israel, none going out and none coming in. And Yahuwah said to Yahshua, See, I have given Jericho and its sovereign, mighty brave men, into your hand. And you shall go around the city, all the men of battle going around the city once. Do this for 6 days. And let 7 priests bear 7 shofarot of the Yobalim before the ark. And on the 7th day, go around the city 7 times, while the priests blow with the shofarot. And it shall be when they make a long blast with the horn of the Yobel, and when you hear the voice of the shofar, that all the people shout with a great sound. Then the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall go up every man straight before him. And Yeshua son of Nun called the priests and said to them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 shofarot of the Yobalim before the ark of Yahuwah. And he said to the people, Pass over, and go around the city, and let him who is armed pass over before the ark of Yahuwah. And it came to be, when Yeshua had spoken to the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 shofarot of the Yobalim before Yahuwah passed over and blew with the shofarot, and the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah went after them. And the armed men went before the priests who blew the shofarot, and the rear guard came after the ark, going on and blowing with the shofarot. But Yeshua had commanded the people, saying, Do not make a sound, or cause your voice to be heard, nor let any word come out of your mouth, until the day I say to you, Shout. Then you shall shout. And the ark of Yahuwah went around the city, going around once. And they came into the camp, and stayed in the camp. And Yeshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of Yahuwah. And 7 priests bearing 7 shofarot of the Yobalim before the ark of Yahuwah were walking, going on. And they blew with the shofarot, and the armed men went before them. But the rear guard came after the ark of Yahuwah, going on and blowing with the shofarot. And the 2nd day they went around the city once and returned to the camp. Thus they did 6 days. And it came to be on the 7th day that they rose early, about the dawning of the day, and went around the city 7 times in this way. Only on that day they went around the city 7 times. And it came to be at the 7th time, when the priest blew with the shofarot, that Yeshua said to the people, Shout, for Yahuwah has given you the city, and the city shall be put under the ban. It and all that is in it belongs to Yahuwah. Only Rahab, the whore, is to live, she and all who are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that were sent. And you, by all means, guard yourselves from that which is under the ban, lest you come under the ban, when you take of that which is under the ban, and make the camp of Yisrael a curse, and shall trouble it. But all the silver and gold, and vessels of bronze and iron are set apart to Yahuwah. They go into the treasury of Yahuwah. And the people shouted when the priest blew the shofarot. And it came to be, when the people heard the voice of the shofar, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat. And the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they captured the city. And they put under the ban all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and donkey, with the edge of the sword. And to the 2 men who had spied out the land, Yeshua said, Go into the house of the woman, the whore, and from there bring out the woman and all that she has, as you swore to her. And the young men, the spies, went in and brought out Rahab, and her father, and her mother, and her brothers, and all that she had. So they brought out all her relatives, and set them outside the camp of Yisrael. And they burned the city and all that was in it with fire. Only the silver and gold and the vessels of bronze and of iron they put into the treasury of the house of Yahuwah. However, Yeshua kept alive Rahab the whore, and her father's household, and all that she had. And she dwelt in the midst of Yisrael to this day, because she hid the messengers whom Yeshua sent to spy out Jericho. And Yeshua warned them at that time, saying, Cursed is the man before Yahuwah, who rises up and builds this city Jericho. He lays its foundation with his firstborn, and with his youngest he sets up its gates. And Yahuwah was with Yahshua, and a report about him was in all the land. Chapter 7. But the children of Israel committed a trespass regarding that which was under the ban. For Achan, son of Carmi, son of Zabdi, son of Zerach, of the tribe of Yehudah, took of that which is under the ban, and the displeasure of Yahuwah burned against the children of Israel. Now Yahshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Beth Awan, on the east side of Beth El, and spoke to them, saying, Go up and spy out the land. And the men went up and spied out Ai. And they returned to Yahshua and said to him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and strike Ai. Do not make all the people toil up there, for the people of Ai are few. And about 3,000 men went up there from the people, but they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai struck about 36 men, for they pursued them from before the gate as far as Shevarim, and smote them on the descent. So the hearts of the people melted and became like water. And Yahshua tore his garments and fell to the earth on his face before the ark of Yahuwah until evening, both he and the elders of Israel, and they put dust on their heads. And Yahshua said, O Master Yahuwah, why have you brought this people over the Yarden at all, to give us into the hand of the Amorites to destroy us? If only we had been content to stay behind the Yarden. Oh Yahuwah, what do I say when Israel turns its back before its enemies? And the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land hear, and shall surround us and cut off your name from the earth. What then do you do for your great name? And Yahuwah said to Yahshua, Rise up. Why are you lying on your face? Israel has sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant which I commanded them. And they have even taken some of that which is under the ban, and have both stolen and deceived, and also put it among their own goods. And the sons of Israel shall not be able to stand before their enemies. They are going to turn their backs before their enemies, for they have become accursed. I am not with you any more, unless you destroy that which is under the ban from your midst. Rise up, set the people apart, and you shall say, Set yourselves apart for tomorrow, because thus said Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, That which is under the ban is in your midst. O Israel, you are not able to stand before your enemies until you put away that which is under the ban out of your midst. And you shall be brought near in the morning, according to your tribes. And it shall be the tribe which Yahuwah takes comes according to clans. And the clan which Yahuwah takes come by households. And the household which Yahuwah takes comes by men. And it shall be that he who is taken with that which is under the ban is burned with fire, and all that he has, because he transgressed the covenant of Yahuwah, and because he committed wickedness in Israel. So Yahshua arose early in the morning, and brought Yisrael by their tribes. And the tribe of Yehudah was taken. And he brought the clan of Yehudah. And he took the clan of the Zarachites. And he brought the clan of the Zarachites by men. And Zabdi was taken. And he brought his household by men. And Achan, son of Carmi, son of Zabdi, son of Zerach, of the tribe of Yehudah, was taken. Then Yahshua said to Achan, My son, now give esteem to Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, and make confession to him. And please, declare to me what you have done. Do not hide it from me. So Achan answered Yahshua, said, Truly, I have sinned against Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, and this is what I did. When I saw among the spoil a lovely garment from Shinar, and 200 shekels of silver and a wedge of gold, weighing 50 shekels, I coveted them, and took them, and see, they're hidden in the ground in the midst of my tent with the silver under it. And Yahshua sent messengers, And they ran to the tent, and see, it was hidden in his tent with the silver under it. And they took them from the midst of the tent, brought them to Yeshua and to all the children of Israel, and laid them out before Yahuwah. Then Yeshua and all Israel with him took Achan son of Zerach, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his donkeys, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had. And they brought them to the valley of Achor. And Yeshua said, Why have you troubled us? Yahuwah does trouble you today. Then all Israel stoned him with stones, and they burned them with fire after they had stoned them with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones, which remains to this day. Then Yahuwah turned from the fierceness of his displeasure. Therefore the name of that place has been called the Valley of Achor to this day. Chapter 8. And Yahuwah said to Yeshua, Do not be afraid, nor be discouraged. Take all the soldiers with you, and arise, go up to Ai. See, I have given into your hand the sovereign of Ai, and his people, and his city and his land. So you shall do to Ai and its sovereign as you did to Jericho and its sovereign. Only its spoil and its livestock you take as plunder for yourselves. Set for yourselves an ambush for the city behind it. And Yeshua and all the soldiers rose up to go to Ai. And Yeshua chose 30,000 mighty brave men and sent them away by night, and commanded them, saying, See, you are going to lie in ambush against the city, behind the city. Do not go very far from the city, but all of you shall be prepared. While I and all the people who are with me approach the city, and it shall be, when they come out against us as formerly, that we shall flee before them. And then they shall come out after us till we have drawn them from the city, as those saying, They are fleeing before us as formerly. And we shall flee before them. Then you shall rise from the ambush and seize the city, and Yahuwah your Elohim shall give it into your hand. And it shall be, when you capture the city, that you burn the city with fire. Do according to the word of Yahuwah. See, I have commanded you. And Yeshua sent them out, and they went to lie in ambush, and stayed between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of Ai. But Yeshua stayed that night in the midst of the people. And Yeshua rose up early in the morning, and inspected the people, and went up, he and the elders of Israel, before the people to Ai. And all the soldiers who were with him went up and drew near, and came before the city, and camped on the north side of Ai, with the valley between them and Ai. And he took about 5,000 men, and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of the city. So they stationed the people, all the army that was on the north of the city, and its rear guard on the west of the city. And Yeshua went that night into the midst of the valley. And it came to be, when the sovereign of Ai saw it, that the men of the city hastened and rose up early, and went out against Israel to battle, he and all his people, at an appointed place before the desert plain. But he did not know that there was an ambush against him behind the city. And Yeshua and all Israel let themselves be beaten before them, and they fled by the way of the wilderness. And all the people who were in Ai were called together to pursue them. And they pursued Yeshua, and were drawn away from the city. So there was not a man left in Ai or Bethel who did not go out after Yisrael. And they left the city open and pursued Yisrael. And Yahuwah said to Yeshua, Stretch out the spear that is in your hand toward Ai, for I give it into your hand. And Yeshua stretched out the spear that he had in his hand toward the city. And the ambush rose up quickly from their place, and they ran at the stretching out of his hand, and entered the city and took it, and hastened to burn the city with fire. And the men of Ai looked behind them, and saw the smoke of the city rising to the heavens. And there was no power in them to flee this way or that way, for the people who had fled to the wilderness turned back on the pursuers. For when Yeshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had captured the city, and that the smoke of the city went up, they turned back and struck the men of Ai. And others came out of the city against them, so that they were in the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that side, and they struck them until none were left, and none had escaped. But the sovereign of Ai they caught alive, and brought him to Joshua. And it came to be, when Israel ended killing all the inhabitants of Ai in the field, in the wilderness where they had pursued them, and when they had fallen by the edge of the sword until they were consumed, that all Israel returned to Ai and struck it with the edge of the sword. And it came to be that all who fell that day, both men and women, were 12,000, all men of Ai. And Yeshua did not draw back his hand with which he stretched out the spear until he had put all the inhabitants of Ai under the ban. Only the livestock and the spoil of that city Yisrael took as booty for themselves, according to the word of Yahuwah, which he had commanded Yeshua. And Yeshua burned Ai and made it a heap forever, a ruin to this day. And he hanged the sovereign of Ai on a tree until evening. And at sunset, Yeshua commanded that they should take his corpse down from the tree and throw it at the entrance of the gate of the city, and raise over it a great heap of stones to this day. And Yeshua built a slaughter place to Yahuwah Elohim of Yisrael in Mount Ebal, as Moshe the servant of Yahuwah had commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the Torah of Moshe, a slaughter place of unhewn stones, over which no man has wielded iron. And they offered on it ascending offerings to Yahuwah, and slaughtered peace offerings. And there, in the presence of the children of Israel, he wrote on the stones a copy of the Torah of Moshe, which he had written. And all Israel, the sojourner as well as the native, with their elders and officers and judges, stood on either side of the ark before the priests, the Levites who bore the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah. Half of them were in front of Mount Gerizim, and half of them in front of Mount Ebal, as Moshe the servant of Yahuwah had commanded before, that they should bless the people of Israel. And afterward he read all the words of the Torah, the blessings and the cursings, according to all that is written in the book of the Torah. There was not a word of all that Moshe had commanded which Yeshua did not read before all the assembly of Israel, with the women and the little ones, and the sojourners who accompanied them. Chapter 9. And it came to be, when all the sovereigns who were beyond the Yarden, in the hills and in the low country, and in all the coasts of the great sea toward Lebanon, the Hittite, and the Amorite, the Canaanite, and the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, heard, they gathered together to fight with Yeshua and Yisrael with one accord. And the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Yeshua had done to Jericho and Ai, and they acted slyly, and went and pretended to be envoys. And they took old sacks on their donkeys, old wineskins torn and mended, and old and patched sandals on their feet, and old garments on themselves. And all the bread of their provision was dry, it was crumbs. And they went to Yeshua to the camp at Gilgal, and said to him and to the men of Israel, "We have come from a far land, and now make a covenant with us." But the men of Israel said to the Hivites, "It could be that you dwell in our midst, so how would we make a covenant with you?" And they said to Yeshua, "We are your servants." And Yeshua said to them, "Who are you, and where do you come from?" So they said to him, "From a land very far off your servants have come, because of the name of Yahuwah your Elohim. For we have heard the report of him, and all that he did in Mitzrayim, and all that he had done to the two sovereigns of the Amorites who were beyond the Yarden, to Sihon sovereign of Heshbon, and Og, sovereign of Bashan, who is at Ashtaroth. So our elders and all the inhabitants of our land spoke to us, saying, Take food with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and say to them, We are your servants, and now make a covenant with us. This bread of ours we took hot for our provision from our houses on the day that we left to come to you. But now see, it is dry and it is crumbly, and these wineskins which we filled were new, and see, they are torn. These our garments and our sandals have become old because of the very long journey. And the men of Israel took some of their food, but they did not ask the mouth of Yahuwah. And Yeshua made peace with them and made a covenant with them to let them live. And the rulers of the congregation swore to them. And it came to be at the end of 3 days, after they had made a covenant with them, that they heard that they were their neighbors who dwelt near them. And the children of Israel set out and came to their cities on the 3rd day. Now their cities were Gibeon, and Kephirah, and Beeroth, and Kirjath Jearim. But the children of Israel did not strike them, because the rulers of the congregation had sworn to them by Yahuwah Elohim of Israel. And all the congregation grumbled against the rulers. But all the rulers said to all the congregation, We have sworn to them by Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, and we are unable to touch them now. Let us do this to them. We shall keep them alive, lest wrath be upon us because of the oath which we swore to them. And the rulers said to them, Let them live, but let them be woodcutters and drawers of wood for all the congregation, as the rulers had promised them. Then Yeshua called for them, and he spoke to them, saying, Why have you deceived us? We are very far from you, yet you are dwelling in our midst. And now you are cursed, and you shall not cease from being slaves and woodcutters and drawers of water for the house of my Elohim. And they answered Yeshua and said, Your servants were clearly told that Yahuwah your Elohim commanded his servant Moshe to give you all the land, and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from before you. So we were very much afraid for our lives because of you, and have done this deed. And now see, we are in your hands. Do with us as it seems good and right to do to us. And he did so to them, and delivered them out of the hand of the children of Israel, and they did not kill them. And that day Yeshua made them woodcutters and drawers of water for the congregation and for the slaughter place of Yahuwah, even to this day, at the place that he should choose. Chapter 10. And it came to be when Adonai Zedek, sovereign of Jerusalem, heard that Yeshua had captured Ai and had put it under the ban, that he had done to Ai and to its sovereign, as he had done to Jericho and its sovereign, and that the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were in their midst, that they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all its men were mighty. And Adonai Zedek, sovereign of Jerusalem, sent to Hocham, sovereign of Hebron, and to Piram, sovereign of Yarmuth, and to Yaphiah, sovereign of Lachish, and to Debir, sovereign of Eglon, saying, Come up to me, and help me, and let us strike Gibeon, for it has made peace with Yeshua, and with the children of Israel. So the 5 sovereigns of the Amorites, the sovereign of Jerusalem, the sovereign of Hebron, the sovereign of Yarmuth, the sovereign of Lachish, the sovereign of Eglon, gathered together and went up, they and all their armies, and camped before Gibeon, and fought against it. And the men of Gibeon sent to Yeshua at the camp at Gilgal, saying, Do not withdraw your hand from your servants. Come up to us quickly, and save us, and help us. For all the sovereigns of the Amorites who dwell in the mountains have assembled against us. And Yeshua went up from Gilgal, he and all the soldiers with him, and all the mighty brave men. And Yahuwah said to Yeshua, "Do not fear them, for I have given them into your hand. Not one of them does stand before you." So then Yeshua came upon them suddenly, having gone up all night from Gilgal. And Yahuwah threw them into confusion before Yisrael, and they struck them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and pursued them along the way that goes to Beth Haron, and struck them as far as Azekah and Makkedah. And it came to be as they fled before Yisrael, and were on the descent of Beth Haron, that Yahuwah threw down large hailstones from the heavens on them, as far as Azekah, and they died. There were more who died from the hailstones than those whom the sons of Yisrael had killed with the sword. Then Yeshua spoke to Yahuwah in the day when Yahuwah gave the Amorites over to the children of Yisrael. And he said before the eyes of Yisrael, "Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Aelon." So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the nation avenged itself upon their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Yashar? Thus the sun stopped in the midst of the heavens, and did not hasten to go down for an entire day. And there has been no day like that, before or after it, that Yahuwah listened to the voice of a man, because Yahuwah fought for Yisrael. So Yeshua returned, and all Yisrael with him, to the camp at Gilgal. Now these 5 sovereigns had fled and hidden themselves in a cave at Makkedah. And it was reported to Yeshua, saying, "The 5 sovereigns have been found hidden in the cave at Makkedah." And Yeshua said, "Roll large stones against the mouth of the cave, and set men by it to guard them. And you, do not stand still, but pursue your enemies, and you shall smite them in the rear. Do not allow them to enter their cities, for Yahuwah your Elohim has given them into your hand." And it came to be, when Yeshua and the children of Israel had ended striking them with a very great slaughter, till they had finished, but those who escaped went into walled cities, that all the people returned to the camp, to Yeshua at Makkedah in peace. No one moved his tongue against any of the sons of Israel. Then Yeshua said, "Open the mouth of the cave and bring out those 5 sovereigns to me from the cave." And they did so, and brought those 5 sovereigns to him from the cave: the sovereign of Jerusalem, the sovereign of Hebron, the sovereign of Yarmuth, the sovereign of Lachish, the sovereign of Eglon. And it came to be, when they brought out those sovereigns to Yeshua, that Yeshua called for all the men of Israel, and said to the chiefs of the men of battle who went with him, "Come near, put your feet on the neck of these sovereigns." And they drew near and put their feet on their necks. Then Yeshua said to them, "Do not be afraid, nor be discouraged. Be strong and courageous, for this is what Yahuwah is going to do to all your enemies whom you are fighting." And afterward, Yeshua struck them and killed them, and hanged them on 5 trees, and they were hanging on the trees until evening. And it came to be at the time of the going down of the sun that Yeshua commanded, and they took them down from the trees, and threw them into the cave where they had been hidden, and laid large stone against the cave's mouth to this day. And on that day Yeshua captured Makkedah, and he struck it with the edge of the sword, and he put its sovereign under the ban. Them and all the people who were in it, he left no survivor. And he did to the sovereign of Makkedah as he had done to the sovereign of Jericho. Then Yeshua passed over, and all Yisrael with him, from Makkedah to Libnah. And they fought against Libnah. And Yahuwah also gave it and its sovereign into the hand of Yisrael. And he struck it, and all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword. He left no survivor in it. And he did to its sovereign as he had done to the sovereign of Jericho. Then Yeshua passed over, and all Yisrael with him, from Libnah to Lachish, and encamped against it and fought against it. And Yahuwah gave Lachish into the hand of Yisrael, who captured it on the 2nd day, and struck it and all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword, according to all that he had done to Libnah. Then Horam, sovereign of Gezer, came up to help Lachish, and Yahusha struck him and his people until he left no survivor. Then Yahshua passed over, and all Yisrael with him, from Lachish to Eglon, and they encamped against it, and fought against it, and captured it on that day, and struck it with the edge of the sword. And all the beings who were in it he put under the ban that day, according to all that he had done to Lachish. Then Yahshua went up, and all Yisrael with him from Eglon to Hebron, and they fought against it, and captured it, and struck it with the edge of the sword, and its sovereign and all its cities, and all the people who were in it. He left no survivor, according to all that he had done to Eglon, but put it and all the people who were in it under the ban. Then Yahshua returned, and all Yisrael with him, to Debir, and fought against it, and captured it, and its sovereign and all its cities. And they struck them with the edge of the sword, and put all the people who were in it under the ban. He left no survivor. As he had done to Hebron, so he did to Debir, and its sovereign, as he had done also to Libnah, and its sovereign. Thus Yahshua struck all the land, the mountain country and the south, and the low country and the wilderness slope, and all their sovereigns. He left no survivor, but put all that breathed under the ban, as Yahuwah Elohim of Yisrael had commanded. And Yahshua struck them from Kadesh Barnea as far as Azah, and all the land of Goshen, even as far as Gibeon. And Yahshua captured all these sovereigns and their land at one time, because Yahuwah Elohim of Yisrael fought for Yisrael. And Yahshua returned, and all Yisrael with him, to the camp at Gilgal. Chapter 11. And it came to be when Yabin, sovereign of Hatzor, heard that he sent to Yobab, sovereign of Madon, and to the sovereign of Shimron, and to the sovereigns of Akshaph, and to the sovereigns who were from the north in the mountains, and in the desert plain south of Kinneroth, and in the low country, and in the heights of Dor on the west, the Canaanites in the east and in the west, and the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Jebusite in the mountains, and the Hiwite below Hermon in the land of Mitzpah. And they went out, they and all their armies with them, as many people, as numerous as the sand on the seashore, with very many horses and chariots. And all these sovereigns met together, and they came and camped together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. And Yahuwah said to Yahshua, Do not be afraid of their presence, for tomorrow about this time I am giving all of them over to Yisrael, slain. Hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire. And Yahshua and all the soldiers with him came against them suddenly by the waters of Merom, and they fell on them. And Yahuwah gave them into the hand of Israel, and they struck them and pursued them to great Zidon, and to Meseraphoth-Maim, and to the valley of Mitzpeh eastward, and they struck them until no survivor was left to them. And Yahshua did to them as Yahuwah said to him. He hamstrung their horses, and burned their chariots with fire. And Yahshua turned back at that time and captured Hatzor, and struck its sovereign with the sword, for Hatzor was formerly the head of all those reigns. And they struck all the beings who were in it with the edge of the sword, putting them under the ban. He did not leave anyone breathing. Then he burned Hatzor with fire. And Yahshua captured all the cities of those sovereigns, and all their sovereigns, and he struck them with the edge of the sword. He put them under the ban as Moshe the servant of Yahuwah commanded. However, Yisrael did not burn any cities that stood on their mounds, but Yahshua burned only Hatzor. And all the spoil of these cities and the livestock, the children of Israel took as booty for themselves. But they struck every man with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them, and they did not leave anyone breathing. As Yahuwah had commanded Moshe his servant, so Moshe commanded Yahshua, and so Yahshua did. he did not turn aside a word of all that Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. So Yahshua took all this land, the mountain country and all the south, and all the land of Goshen, and all the low country, and the desert plain, and the mountains of Yisrael, and its lowlands, from Mount Chalek, that goes up to Seir, and as far as Baal Gad, in the valley of Lebanon, below Mount Hermon. And he captured all their sovereigns, and he struck them and killed them. And Yahshua fought with all those sovereigns for a long time. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, except the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon. All the others they took in battle, for it was of Yahuwah to strengthen their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, in order to put them under the ban, so that they might have no favor, but that he might annihilate them, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. And at that time Yahshua came and cut off the Anakim from the mountains, from Hebron, from Dabir, from Anab, and from all the mountains of Yehuda, and from all the mountains of Israel. Yahshua put them with their cities under the ban. There were none of the Anakim left in the land of the children of Israel, only in Azah, in Gath, and in Ashdod some remained. Thus Yahshua took the entire land, according to all that Yahuwah had said to Moshe. And Yahshua gave it as an inheritance to Yisrael, according to their divisions, by their tribes. And the land rested from fighting. Chapter 12. And these are the sovereigns of the land whom the children of Israel struck, and whose land they possessed beyond the Yarden, towards the sun rising, from the Wadi Arnan to Mount Hermon, and all the desert plain eastward. Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, ruling from Aor, which is on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, and the desert plain from the sea of Kinnereth eastward as far as the sea of Arabah, the salt sea, the way to Beth Yeshimoth, and southward below the slopes of Pisgah, and the border of Og, sovereign of Bashan, who was of the remnant of the Rephaites, who dwelt at Ashtaroth, and at Edrei, and ruled in Mount Hermon, and in Salcah, and in all Bashan as far as the border of the Geshurites, and the Maacathites, and the half-tribe of Gilead, as far as the border of Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon. Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, and the children of Israel had stricken them, and Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, had given it as a possession to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to half the tribe of Manasseh. And these are the sovereigns of the land which Yahshua and the children of Israel struck beyond the Yarden, on the west, from Baal Gad, in the valley of Lebanon, as far as Mount Chalak, that goes up to Seir, which Yahshua gave to the tribes of Israel as a possession according to their divisions, in the mountain country, and in the low country, and in the desert plain, and in the slopes, and in the wilderness, and in the south, the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, the sovereigns of Jericho, 1, the sovereign of Ai, which is beside Bethel, 1, the sovereign of Jerusalem, 1, the sovereign of Hebron, 1, the sovereign of Yarmuth, 1, the sovereign of Lachish, 1, the sovereign of Eglon, 1, the sovereign of Gezer, 1, the sovereign of Dabir, 1, the sovereign of Gedar, 1, the sovereign of Hormah, 1, the sovereign of Arad, 1, the sovereign of Libnah, 1, the sovereign of Adullam, 1, the sovereign of Makkedah, 1, the sovereign of Bethel, 1, the sovereign of Tappuah, 1, the sovereign of Hefer, 1, the sovereign of Aphek, 1, the sovereign of Sharon, 1, the sovereign of Madon, 1, the sovereign of Hatzor, 1, the sovereign of Shimron Meron, 1, the sovereign of Akshaph, 1, The sovereign of Tanakh, 1. The sovereign of Megiddo, 1. The sovereign of Kadesh, 1. The sovereign of Yokanam in Carmel, 1. The sovereign of Dor in the heights of Dor, 1. The sovereign of the nations of Gilgal, 1. The sovereign of Tirzah, 1. 31 sovereigns in all. Chapter 13. And Yeshua was old, advanced in years. And Yahuwah said to him, You are old, advanced in years, and still much of the land remains to be possessed. This is the land that remains, all the districts of the Philistines, and all the Geshurites, from Shihor, which is in the front of Mitzrayim, and up to the border of Ekron northward, are considered as Canaanite. The 5 princes of the Philistines, the Azathites, and the Ashdodites, the Ashkelonites, and the Gitites, and the Ekronites, and also the Awites. On the south, all the land of the Canaanites, and Merara, that belongs to the Zidonians as far as Aphek, to the border of the Amorites, and the land of the Gebalites, and all Lebanon, toward the sunrise from Baal Gad, below Mount Hermon, as far as the entrance to Hamath, all the inhabitants of the mountains from Lebanon, as far as Mishropheth-maim, and all the Zidonians. I myself drive them out from before the children of Israel, only divide it by lot to Israel as an inheritance, as I have commanded you. And now divide this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh. With them, the other half-tribe, the Reubenites and the Gadites, received their inheritance, which Moshe had given them beyond the Yarden eastward, as Moshe the servant of Yahuwah had given them, from Aror, which is on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the Wadi, and all the plain of Medeba as far as Dibon, and all the cities of Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, as far as the border of the children of Ammon, and Gilead, and the border of the Geshurites, and of the Maacathites, and all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan as far as Salcah, all the reign of Og and Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth, and Edrei, who remained of the remnant of the Rephaites, for Moshe had stricken and dispossessed them. However, the children of Israel did not drive out the Geshurites, nor the Maacathites. So the Geshurites and the Maacathites dwell in the midst of Israel to this day. Only to the tribe of Levi he had given no inheritance. The offerings made by fire to Yahuwah Elohim of Israel were their inheritance, as he said to them. And Moshe gave to the tribes of the children of Reuben for their clans. And their border was from Aror, which is on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, and the city that is in the middle of the Wadi, and all the plain by Medeba, Heshbon, and all its cities that are in the plain, Dibon, and Bamath Baal, and Bet Baal Meon, and Yatzah, and Kedemoth, and Mephaath, and Kiriathaim, and Sibma, and Zereth Shahar, on the mountain of the valley, and Bet Peor, and the slopes of Pisgah, and Bet Yeshimoth, and all the cities of the plain, and all the reign of Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, whom Moshe had stricken with the princes of Midian, Ewi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, princes of Sihon, dwelling in the land. And the sons of Israel killed with the sword Bilam, son of Beor, the diviner, among those who were killed by them. And the border of the children of Reuben was the bank of the Yarden. This was the inheritance of the children of Reuben for their clans, the cities and their villages. And Moshe gave to the tribe of Gad, to the children of Gad for their clans. And their border was Yazer, and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the children of Ammon, as far as Aror, which is before Rabbah, and from Heshbon to Ramath Mitzpeh, and Betonim, and from Mahanaim to the border of Debir, and in the valley of Bet Haram, and Bet Nimrah, and Sukkot, and Zaphon, the rest of the reign of Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon, the Yarden being its border as far as the edge of the sea of Kinnereth, beyond Yarden eastward. This is the inheritance of the children of Gad, for their clans, the cities and their villages. And Moshe gave to half the tribe of Manasseh, and it was for half the tribe of the children of Manasseh, for their clans. And their border was from Mahanaim, all Bashan, all the reign of Og, sovereign of Bashan, and all the small towns of Yair, which are in Bashan, 60 cities. And the half of Gilead, and Ashtaroth, and Edrei, cities of the reign of Og in Bashan, were for the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, to the half of the children of Machir for their clans. These Moshe gave as an inheritance in the desert plains of Moab, beyond the Yarden, by Jericho eastward. But to the tribe of Levi, Moshe gave no inheritance. Yahuwah Elohim of Yisrael, he was their inheritance, as he had said to them. Chapter 14. Now these, the children of Israel, inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest, and Yeshua son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel caused them to inherit. Their inheritance was by lot, as Yahuwah had commanded by the hand of Moshe, for the 9 tribes and the half-tribe. For Moshe had given the inheritance of the 2 tribes, and the half-tribe beyond the Yarden. But to the Levites he gave no inheritance in their midst. For the children of Joseph had become 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. And they gave no part to the Levites in the land except cities to dwell in, with their open land for their livestock and their possessions. As Yahuwah had commanded Moshe, so the children of Israel did, and they divided the land. And the children of Yehudah came to Yeshua in Gilgal. And Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzerite, said to him, You know the word which Yahuwah said to Moshe, the man of Elohim, concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land. And I brought back word to him as it was in my heart. But my brothers, who went up with me, made the heart of the people melt. But I followed Yahuwah my Elohim completely. So Moshe swore on that day, saying, The land on which your foot has trodden is your inheritance and your children's forever, because you have followed Yahuwah my Elohim completely. And now see, Yahuwah has kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years since Yahuwah spoke this word to Moshe, while Yisrael walked in the wilderness. And now see, I am 85 years old today. Yet I am still as strong today as I was on the day that Moshe sent me. As my strength was then, so my strength is now, for battle, and for going out and for coming in. And now give me this mountain of which Yahuwah spoke in that day. For you heard in that day how the Anakim were there, and that the cities were great and walled. If Yahuwah is with me, then I shall dispossess them as Yahuwah has said. Yeshua then blessed him, and gave Hebron to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as an inheritance. So Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, to this day, because he followed Yahuwah Elohim of Yisrael completely. Now the name of Hebron was formerly Kiriath Arba. Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim, and the land had rest from fighting. Chapter 15. And the lot of the tribe of the children of Yehudah for their clans was to the border of Edom, the wilderness of Zin, southward in the extreme south. And their southern border began at the edge of the Salt Sea, from the bay that faces southward. And it went out to the southern side of the ascent of Akarabim, passed over to Zin, and went up on the south side of Kadesh Barnea, and passed over to Chetzron, went up to Adar, and went around to Karka, and passed over to Atmam, and went out to the Wadi of Mitzrayim, and the border ended at the sea. This is your southern border. And the east border was the Salt Sea as far as the end of the Yarden, and the border on the northern quarter began at the bay of the sea at the end of the Yarden. And the border went up to Beth Hagla, and passed over the north of Beth Arba. And the border went up to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. And the border went up toward Debir, from the valley of Achor, and it turned northward toward Gilgal, which is before the ascent of Adumim, which is south of the Wadi. And the border passed over to the waters of En-Shemesh, and ended at En-Rogel. And the border went up by the valley of the son of Hinnom, to the southern slope of the Jebusite city, that is Jerusalem. And the border went up to the top of the mountain that lies before the valley of Hinnom westward, which is at the end of the valley of Rephaim northward. And the border went around from the top of the hill to the fountain of the water of Nephtoah, and went up to the cities of Mount Ephron. And the border went around to Baalah, that is Kiriath Yearim. And the border turned around from Baalah westward to Mount Seir, and passed over to the side of Mount Yarim on the north, that is Kesalon, and went down to Beth Shemesh, and passed over to Timnah. And the border went out to the side of Ekron northward, and the border went around to Shikaron, and passed over to Mount Baalah, and went out to Yabneel, and the border ended at the sea. And the west border was the coastline of the great sea. This is the boundary of the children of Yehudah all around for their clans. And to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, he gave a portion in the midst of the children of Yehudah, according to the mouth of Yahuwah to Yahshua, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak. And Caleb drove out the 3 sons of Anak from there, Sheshai, and Achiman, and Talmai, the children of Anak. And he went up from there to the inhabitants of Debir, and the name of Debir formerly was Kiriath Sefer. And Caleb said, He who strikes Kiriath Sefer, and shall capture it, to him I shall give Aksah, my daughter, as wife. And Othniel, son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, did capture it. So he gave him Aksah, his daughter, as wife. And it came to be, when she came to him, that she persuaded him to ask her father for a field. And when she got off from the donkey, Caleb said to her, What is the matter? And she said, Give me a blessing. Since you have given me land in the south, give me also fountains of water. And he gave her the upper fountains and the lower fountains. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Yehudah for their clans. And the cities at the furthest border of the tribe of the children of Yehudah, toward the border of Edom in the south, were Kapseel, and Eder, and Yagur, and Kina, and Dibonah, and Adada, and Kadesh, and Chatzor, and Yitnan, Ziph, and Telam, and Be'oloth, and Chatzor, and Hadattah, and Kirioth, Chetzron, that is Chatzor, Amam, and Shema, and Molada, and Chatzor Gada, and Heshmon, and Bet Pelet, and Chatzor Shual, and Beersheba, and Beziothia, Bala, and Ayim, and Etsem, and Eltolad, and Kesil, and Chorma, and Ziglag, and Madmana, and Sansana, and Lebaoth, and Shelim, and Ayin, and Rimmon. All the cities were 29 with their villages. In the low country, Eshtaol, and Zorah, and Ashna, and Zanoah, and En-Ganim, and Tapua, and Enam, Yarmuth, and Adullam, Soko, and Azekah, and Sha'araim, and Adithaim, and Gedara, and Gederothayim, 14 cities with their villages. Zenan, and Hadashah, and Migdal Gad, and Dilan, and Mitzpeh, and Yoktha'el, Lachish, and Batakoth, and Eglon, and Kabon, and Lachmam, and Kithlish, and Gederoth, Beth Dagon, and Nama, and Makkedah, 16 cities with their villages. Libnah, and Ether, and Ashan, and Yiftach, and Ashanah, and Netzib, and Keilah, and Akzib, and Marisha, 9 cities with their villages. Ekron with its towns and its villages. From Ekron to the sea, all that were by the side of Ashdod with their villages. Ashdod, its town and its villages. Azah, its town and its villages, as far as the Wadi of Mitzrayim, and the great sea with its coastline. And in the mountain country, Shamur, and Yatir, and Soko, and Dana, and Kiriath Sanah, that is Debir, and Anab, and Eshtemoh, and Anim, and Goshen, and Cholan, and Gilo, 11 cities with their villages. Arab, and Duma, and Eshan, and Yanim, and Bet Tapua, and Afika, and Chumta, and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, and Zior, 9 cities with their villages. Moan, Carmel, and Ziph, and Utah, and Yisreel, and Yokdeam, and Zanoah, Cain, Geba, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages. Hachul, Bet Zur, and Gedar, and Maarath, and Bet Anoth, and Eltekon, 6 cities with their villages. Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Ya'arim, and Rabbah, 2 cities with their villages. In the wilderness, Bet Arba, Medin, and Sikakah, and Nibshan, and the city of Salt, and En Gedi, 6 cities with their villages. As for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the children of Yehuda were unable to drive them out. So the Jebusites have dwelt with the children of Yehuda at Jerusalem to this day. Chapter 16. And the lot for the children of Joseph went out from the Yarden by Jericho to the waters of Jericho on the east to the wilderness going up from Jericho through the mountains to Bethel, and went from Bethel to Luz, and passed over to the border of the Archites at Ataroth, and went down westward to the boundary of the Japhletites, as far as the boundary of lower Beth Horon to Gezer, and it ended at the sea. Thus the children of Joseph, Manasseh, and Ephraim inherited, and the border of the children of Ephraim, according to their clans, was the border of their inheritance on the east side was Atorath Adar, as far as upper Beth Horon, and the border went out toward the sea to Mikmathath on the north. Then the border went around eastward to Ta'nath Shiloh, and passed over it on the east of Yanohah, and went down from Yanohah to Atorath and Nara, reached to Jericho, and came out at the Yarden. From Tapua, the border went westward to the Wadi Kana, and it ended at the sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ephraim for their clans. And the separate cities for the children of Ephraim were in the midst of the inheritance of the children of Manasseh, all the cities with their villages. And they did not drive out the Canaanites, who dwelt in Gezer. So the Canaanites dwell among the Ephraimites to this day, and have become compulsory labor. Chapter 17. And the lot for the tribe of Manasseh, for he was the firstborn of Joseph, was for Machir the firstborn of Manasseh, father of Gilead, because he was a man of battle. Therefore he had Gilead and Bashan. And for the rest of the children of Manasseh, for their clans there was, for the children of Abiezer, and for the children of Helek, and for the children of Asrael, and for the children of Shechem, and for the children of Hefer, and for the children of Shemidah. These were the male children of Manasseh, son of Joseph, according to their clans. But Zepholahad, son of Hefer, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, had no sons, but only daughters. And these were the names of his daughters, Machalah and Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. And they came near before Eleazar, the priest, before Yeshua, son of Nun, and before the rulers, saying, Yahuwah commanded Moshe to give us an inheritance among our brothers. So he gave them an inheritance among their father's brothers according to the mouth of Yahuwah. And 10 portions fell to Manasseh, beside the land of Gilead, and Bashan, which were beyond the Yarden, because the daughters of Manasseh received an inheritance among his sons. And the rest of Manasseh's sons in the land of Gilead, and the border of Manasseh was from Asher to Mikmethath, which faces Shechem, and the border went up to the right to the inhabitants of En-Tappuah. And the land of Tappuah belonged to Manasseh, but Tappuah on the border of Manasseh belonged to the children of Ephraim. And the border went down to the Wadi Kana, southward to the Wadi. These cities of Ephraim were in the midst of the cities of Manasseh, but the border of Manasseh was north of the Wadi, and it ended at the sea. Southward it was Ephraim's, and northward it was Manasseh's, and the sea was its border. And they reached to Asher on the north, and to Issachar on the east. And in Issachar and in Asher, Manasseh had Beth-Sha'an, and its towns, and Yiblaim, and its towns, and the inhabitants of Dor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Endor and its towns, and the inhabitants of Tanakh and its towns, and the inhabitants of Megiddo and its towns, 3 of the heights. But the children of Manasseh were unable to drive out the inhabitants of those cities, for the Canaanites desired to dwell in that land. And it came to be, when the children of Israel grew strong, that they put the Canaanites to compulsory labor, but did not utterly drive them out. And the children of Joseph spoke to Yeshua, saying, Why have you given us 1 lot and 1 portion to inherit, seeing we are a great people, whom Yahuwah has blessed until now? And Yeshua said to them, If you are a great people, go up to the forest and clear a place for yourself there in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaites, since the hill country of Ephraim is too narrow for you. Then the children of Joseph said, The hill country is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites who dwell in the land of the valley have chariots of iron, both those who are of Beth-Sha'an and its towns, and those who are of the valley of Yisrael. And Yeshua spoke to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim and to Manasseh, saying, You are a great people, and have great power. You are not to have 1 lot, for the hill country shall be yours. For through it is a forest, you shall cut it down, and its farthest limits shall be yours. For you are to drive out the Canaanites, though they have iron chariots, and are strong. Chapter 18. And all the congregation of the children of Israel assembled at Shiloh, and they let the tent of appointment dwell there, and the land was subdued before them. And 7 tribes were left among the children of Israel, who had not yet shared their inheritance. So Yeshua said to the children of Israel, Till when are you going to fail to go in and possess the land which Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe, and let me send them out to go through their land and describe it according to their inheritance, and come back to me. And they shall divide it into 7 portions. Yehudah stays within their border on the south, and the house of Joseph stays within their border on the north. And you shall describe the land in 7 portions, and shall bring it to me. Then I shall cast lots for you here before Yahuwah our Elohim. But the Levites have no portion among you, for the priesthood of Yahuwah is their inheritance. And Gad and Reuben and the half-tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance beyond the Yarden on the east, which Moshe the servant of Yahuwah gave them. So the men rose up and went. And Yeshua commanded those who went up to the land, saying, Go, walk through the land and describe it, and come back to me, and let me cast lots for you here before Yahuwah in Shiloh. So the men went and passed through the land, and described it in a book in 7 portions by cities. And they came to Yeshua at the camp in Shiloh. And Yeshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before Yahuwah. And there Yeshua divided the land to the children of Israel according to their portions. And the lot of the tribe of the children of Benjamin came up for their clans. And the border of their lot came out between the children of Yehudah and the children of Joseph. And their border was on the north side from the Yarden, and the border went up to the side of Jericho on the north, and went up through the mountains westward, and ended at the wilderness of Beth Awen. And the border went over from there toward Luz, to the side of Luz, that is Bethel, southward. And the border went down to Ataroth Adar, by the hill that lies on the south side of lower Beth Haron. And the border was drawn, and went around the west side, to the south, from the hill that faces Beth Haron southward, and it ended at Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Yearim, a city of the children of Yehudah. This was the west side. And the south side was from the end of Kiriath Yearim, and the border went out westward, and went out to the fountain of the waters of Nephtoah. And the border came down to the end of the mountains that face the valley of the son of Hinnom, which is in the valley of the Rephaim on the north, and went down to the valley of Hinnom, to the side of the Jebusite city on the south, and went down to En Rogel. And it was drawn from the north, went out to En Shemesh, and went out toward Geliloth, which is opposite the ascent of Adumim, and went down to the stone of Bocham, son of Reuben, and passed over to the side opposite Arabah northward, and went down to Arabah. And the border passed over to the side of Beth Hoglah northward, and the border ended at the north bay at the Salt Sea, and the south end of the Yarden. This was the southern boundary, and the Yarden borders it on the east side. This was the inheritance of the children of Benjamin, according to the boundaries all around for their clans. And the cities for the tribe of the children of Benjamin for their clans were Jericho, Beth Hoglah, and Emek Ketzitz, and Beth Arabah, and Zemamaim, and Bethel, and Awim, and Para, and Ophrah, and Kifar Hamoni, and Ophni, and Gaba, 12 cities with their villages, Gibeon, and Ramah, and Beeroth, and Mitzpeh, and Kephirah, and Motzah, and Rechem, and Yirpiel, and Taralah, and Zillah, Eleph, and the Jebusite, that is Jerusalem, Gebath, and Kiriath, 14 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the children of Benjamin for their clans. Chapter 19. And the second lot came out for Shimon, for the tribe of the children of Shimon for their clans. And their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Yehudah. And they had in their inheritance Beersheba, or Sheba, and Molodah, and Hatzor Shual, and Bala, and Etzem, and Eltolad, and Bethul, and Hormah, and Ziglag, and Beth Markaboth, and Hatzor Susa, and Beth Lebohath, and Sharuchen, 13 cities and their villages, Ayin, Rimon, and Ether, and Ashan, 4 cities and their villages, and all the villages that were all around these cities as far as Ba'ath Be'er, Ramath Negeb. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Shimon for their clans. The inheritance of the children of Shimon was out of the portion of the children of Yehudah. For the portion of the children of Yehudah was too much for them. So the children of Shimon had their inheritance within their inheritance. And the third lot came up for the children of Zebulun, for their clans. And the border of their inheritance was as far as Sarid. And their border went toward the sea and Maralah, and reached to Damasheth, and reached out to the wadi that faced Yokneam, and turned back from Sarid, eastward toward the sunrise, to the border of Kisloth, Tabor, and went out toward Debarath, and went up to Yephaiah. And from there it passed over eastward to the east of Gath-Hefer, toward Eth-Katzin, and went out to Rimmon, which borders Neah. And the border went around it, on the north side of Hanathon, and it ended in the valley of Yiptath El. Also Kata, and Nahalal, and Shimron, and Yidala, and Bethlehem, 12 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the children of Zebulun for their clans, these cities with their villages. The fourth lot came out to Issachar, for the children of Issachar for their clans. And their border was towards Yisreel, and Kesaloth, and Shunem, and Hapharaim, and Shion, and Anaharath, and Rabith, and Kishion, and Ebetz, and Remeth, and En-Ganim, and En-Hada, and Beth-Patzetz, and the border reached to Tabor, and Shahatzima, and Beth-Shemesh, and their border ended at the Yarden, 16 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribes of the children of Issachar for their clans, the cities and their villages. And the fifth lot came out for the tribe of the children of Asher for their clans. And their border was Helkath, and Chali, and Beten, and Akshaph, and Alamelech, and Amad, and Mishael. And it reached to Mount Carmel westward, and to brook Shihor, Libnath, and turned toward the sunrise to Beth Dagon, and reached to Zebulun, and to the valley of Yiftah, then northward beyond Beth Emek and Neaiel, and went out to Kabul, which was on the left, and Hebron, and Rehob, and Hammon, and Cana, as far as Great Zidon. And the border turned to Ramah, and to the strong city Zor. And the border turned to Hosha, and ended at the sea from the coast to Akzib. And Umah, and Aphek, and Rehob were included, 22 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribes of the children of Asher for their clans, these cities with their villages. The sixth lot came out to the children of Naphtali, for the children of Naphtali for their clans. And their border was from Heleph, and from the terebinth tree in Zanaim, and Admi, Negeb, and Yabneel, as far as Lakum, and it ended at the Yarden. And the border turned westward to Aznoth Tabor, and went out from there toward Hukok, and reached to Zebulun on the south side, and Asher on the west side, and ended at Yehudah by the Yarden toward the sunrise. And the cities of defense were Zedim, Zer, Hamath, Rakath, and Kinnereth, and Adamah, and Ramah, and Hatzor, and Kadesh, and Edrei, and En-Hatzor, and Yeron, and Migdal-El, Horem, and Beth-Anath, and Beth-Shemesh, 19 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Naphtali for their clans, the cities with their villages. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of the children of Dan for their clans. And the border of their inheritance was Zorah, and Eshtaol, and Ir-Shemesh, and Shalabim, and Ayalon, and Yithlah, and Elon, and Timnathah, and Ekron, and Eltikah, and Gibbethon, and Baalath, and Yehud, and Benai Barak, and Gath Rimmon, and Me Yarakon, and Rakon, with the border before Yapho. And the border of the children of Dan went out from them. And the children of Dan went up to fight against Leshem, and captured it. And they struck it with the edge of the sword, and possessed it, and dwelt in it, and called it Leshem, Dan, after the name of Dan their father. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Dan for their clans, these cities with their villages. And when they had ended dividing the land as an inheritance according to their borders, the children of Israel gave an inheritance to Yahshua, son of Nun, in their midst. According to the mouth of Yahuwah, they gave him the city which he asked for, Timnath-Serach, in the mountains of Ephraim. And he built the city and dwelt in it. These were the inheritances which Eleazar the priest, and Yahshua, son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel divided as an inheritance by lot in Shiloh, before Yahuwah, at the door of the tent of appointment, and they ended dividing their country. Chapter 20. And Yahuwah spoke to Joshua, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, Appoint for yourselves cities of refuge, of which I spoke to you through Moshe, for the manslayer who strikes any being mistakenly, unknowingly, to flee there. And they shall be your refuge from the Redeemer of blood. And he shall flee to one of those cities, and stand at the entrance of the gate of the city, and declare his case in the hearing of the elders of that city. And they shall take him into the city as one of them, and give him a place, and he shall dwell among them. And when the Redeemer of blood pursues him, they do not give the manslayer into his hand, because he struck his neighbor unknowingly, and did not hate him beforehand. And he shall dwell in that city until he stands before the congregation for right ruling, and until the death of the one who is high priest in those days. Then let the manslayer return and come to his own city and his own house to the city from which he fled. So they set apart Kadesh in Galil, in the mountains of Naphtali, and Shechem, in the mountains of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the mountains of Yehudah. And beyond the Yarden, by Jericho, eastward, they appointed Betzer in the wilderness on the plain, from the tribe of Reuben, and Ramoth in Gilead, from the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan, from the tribe of Manasseh. These were the cities appointed for all the children of Israel, and for the sojourner who sojourned in their midst, for anyone striking any being unknowingly, to flee there, and not die by the hand of the Redeemer of blood until he stood before the congregation. Chapter 21. And the heads of the fathers of the Levites came near to Eleazar, the priest, to Yeshua the son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And they spoke to them at Shiloh in the land of Canaan, saying, Yahuwah commanded through Moshe to give us cities to dwell in, with their open land for our livestock. So the children of Israel gave to the Levites from their inheritance at the mouth of Yahuwah these cities and their open land. And the lot came out for the clans of the Kehathites and the children of Aharon, the priest, who were of the Levites, had 13 cities by lot from the tribe of Yehudah, from the tribe of Shimon, and from the tribe of Benjamin. And the rest of the children of Kehath had 10 cities by lot from the clans of the tribe of Ephraim, from the tribe of Dan, and from the half-tribe of Manasseh. And the children of Gershon had 13 cities by lot from the clans of the tribe of Issachar, from the tribe of Asher, from the tribe of Naphtali, and from the half-tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. The children of Merari for their clans had 12 cities from the tribe of Reuben, and from the tribe of Gad, and from the tribe of Zebulun. Thus the children of Israel gave these cities with their open land by lot to the Levites, as Yahuwah had commanded by the hand of Moshe. So from the tribe of the children of Yehudah, and from the tribe of the children of Shimon, they gave these cities which are mentioned by name. And they were for the children of Aharon, one of the clans of the Kehathites, who were of the children of Levi, for the lot was theirs first. And they gave them Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak, in the mountains of Yehudah, with the open land surrounding it. And the fields of the city and its villages they gave to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as his possession. But to the children of Aharon the priest they gave Hebron, with its open land, a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Libnah with its open land, and Yatir with its open land, and Eshtemoa with its open land, and Holon with its open land, and Debir with its open land, and Ayin with its open land, and Utah with its open land, and Beth Shemesh with its open land, 9 cities from those 2 tribes. And from the tribe of Benjamin, Gibeon with its open land, Geba with its open land, Anathoth with its open land, and Almon with its open land, 4 cities. All the cities of the children of Aharon the priests were 13 cities with their open lands. And the clans of the children of Kehath, the Levites, the rest of the children of Kehath, even they had the cities of their lot from the tribe of Ephraim. And they gave them Shechem with its open land in the mountains of Ephraim as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Gezer with its open land, and Kipsaim with its open land, and Beth Horon with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Dan, Eltekah with its open land, Gibbethon with its open land, Ayalon with its open land, and Gath Rimmon with its open land, 4 cities. And from the half-tribe of Manasseh, Tanakh with its open land, and Gath Rimmon with its open land, 2 cities. All the 10 cities with their open lands were for the rest of the clans of the children of Kehath. And to the children of Gershon of the clans of the Levites, from the other half-tribe of Manasseh, they gave Golan in Bashan, with its open land as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Beshterah with its open land, 2 cities. And from the tribe of Issachar, Kishion, with its open land, Dabarath with its open land, Yarmuth with its open land, and En-Ganim with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Asher, Misha'al with its open land, Abdon with its open land, Helkath with its open land, and Rehob with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Naphtali, Kadesh in Galil with its open land, as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Hamath Dor with its open land, and Kartan with its open land, 3 cities. All the cities of the Gershonites, for their clans were 13 cities with their open land. And to the clans of the children of Merari, the rest of the Levites, from the tribe of Zebulun, Yokneam with its open land, Karta with its open land, Dimnah with its open land, Nahalal with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Reuben, Betzer with its open land, Yatzah with its open land, Kedemoth with its open land, and Mephaath with its open land, 4 cities. And from the tribes of Gad, Ramoth in Gilead, with its open land as a city of refuge for the manslayer, and Mahanaim with its open land, Heshbon with its open land, Yazer with its open land, 4 cities in all the cities for the children of Merari, for their clans. The rest of the clans of the Levites were by their lot 12 cities. All the cities of the Levites within the possession of the children of Israel were 48 cities with their open lands. Each of these cities had its open lands surrounding it. So it was with all these cities. Thus Yahuwah gave to Israel all the land of which he had sworn to give their fathers, and they took possession of it and dwelt in it. And Yahuwah gave them rest all around, according to all that he had sworn to their fathers, and not a man of all their enemies stood against them. Yahuwah gave all their enemies into their hand. Not a word failed of any good word which Yahuwah had spoken to the house of Israel. All came in. Chapter 22. Then Yeshua called for the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half the tribe of Manasseh, and said to them, You have guarded all that Moshe the servant of Yahuwah commanded you, and have obeyed my voice in all that I commanded you. You have not left your brothers these many days up to this day, but have guarded the charge, the command of Yahuwah your Elohim. And now Yahuwah your Elohim has given rest to your brothers, as he promised them. So now return, and go to your tents and to the land of your possession, which Moshe the servant of Yahuwah gave you beyond the Yarden. Only diligently guard to do the commands and the Torah which Moshe the servant of Yahuwah commanded you, to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to guard his commands, and to cling to him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your being. And Yeshua blessed them, and sent them away, and they went to their tents. And to half the tribe of Manasseh, Moshe had given a possession in Bashan, but to the other half of it Yeshua gave land among their brothers, beyond the Yarden westward. So when Yeshua sent them away to their tents, he also blessed them, and spoke to them, saying, Return to your tents with great riches, with very much livestock, and with silver, and with gold, and with bronze, and with iron, and with countless garments. Divide the spoil of your enemies with your brothers. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad, and half the tribe of Manasseh returned, and left the children of Israel at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan, to go to the land of Gilead, to the land of their possession, which they possessed according to the mouth of Yahuwah by the hand of Moshe. And they came to the districts of the Yarden, which is in the land of Canaan. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh built a slaughter place there by the Yarden, a great, conspicuous slaughter place. And the children of Israel heard it and said, See, the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and half the tribe of Manasseh have built a slaughter place opposite the land of Canaan, in the districts of the Yarden, at the border of the children of Israel. And when the children of Israel heard, all the congregation of the children of Israel assembled at Shiloh to go to fight against them. So the children of Israel sent Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, to the children of Reuben and to the children of Gad, and to half the tribe of Manasseh into the land of Gilead, and 10 rulers with him, 1 ruler each from the chief house of every tribe of Israel, and each one was the head of the house of his father among the divisions of Israel. And they came to the children of Reuben, and to the children of Gad, and to the half tribe of Manasseh, to the land of Gilead, and spoke with them, saying, Thus says all the congregation of Yahuwah, What is this trespass you have committed against the Elohim of Israel, to turn away this day from following Yahuwah, in that you have built for yourselves a slaughter place, to rebel against Yahuwah this day? Is the crookedness of Peor not enough for us, from which we have not been cleansed till this day? Although there was a plague in the congregation of Yahuwah, that you turn away today from following Yahuwah. And it shall be, if you rebel today against Yahuwah, that tomorrow he is wroth with all the congregation of Israel. And indeed, if the land of your possession is unclean, then pass over to the land of the possession of Yahuwah, where the dwelling place of Yahuwah dwells, and take possession among us. But do not rebel against Yahuwah, nor rebel against us, by building yourselves a slaughter place beside the slaughter place of Yahuwah, your Elohim. Did not Achan, son of Zerah, commit a trespass in that which is under the ban, and wrath fell on all the congregation of Israel? And he was not the only one to die in his crookedness. Then the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh answered and said to the heads of the divisions of Israel, El Elohim Yahuwah, El Elohim Yahuwah, he knows, and let Yisrael itself know, if this has been in rebellion, or if in trespass against Yahuwah. Do not save us this day. If we have built ourselves a slaughter place to turn from following Yahuwah, or if to offer ascending offerings or grain offerings on it, or if to make slaughterings of peace offerings on it, let Yahuwah himself require it. But truly, truly from fear, for a reason we did this, saying, In time to come your sons might speak to our sons, saying, What have you to do with Yahuwah Elohim of Israel? For Yahuwah has made the Yarden a border between you and us, you children of Reuben and children of Gad. You have no portion with Yahuwah. So your sons would make our sons stop fearing Yahuwah. So we said, Let us now prepare to build ourselves a slaughter place, not for ascending offerings, nor for slaughtering, but to be a witness between you and us and our generations after us, to do the service of Yahuwah before him with our ascending offerings, and with our slaughter offerings, and with our peace offerings, that your sons should not say to our sons in time to come, You have no portion with Yahuwah. So we said that it shall be, when they say this to us, or to our generation in time to come, that we shall say, See the pattern of the slaughter place of Yahuwah which our fathers made, though not for ascending offerings, nor for slaughterings, but it is a witness between you and us. Far be it from us to rebel against Yahuwah, and turn from following Yahuwah this day, to build a slaughter place for ascending offerings, for grain offerings, or for slaughterings, beside the slaughter place of Yahuwah our Elohim, which is before his dwelling place. And Phinehas the priest and the rulers of the congregation and the heads of the thousands of Israel who were with him heard the words that the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the children of Manasseh spoke, and it was good in their eyes. And Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, said to the children of Reuben, and to the children of Gad, and to the children of Manasseh, Today we know that Yahuwah is in our midst, because you have not committed against Yahuwah this trespass. Now you have delivered the children of Israel out of the hand of Yahuwah. And Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, and the rulers returned from the children of Reuben, and the children of Gad from the land of Gilead to the land of Canaan, to the children of Israel, and brought back word to them. So the matter was good in the eyes of the children of Israel, and the children of Israel blessed Elohim, and they spoke no more of going against to fight, to destroy the land where the children of Reuben and Gad dwelt. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad called the slaughter place a witness between us that Yahuwah is Elohim. Chapter 23. And it came to be a long time after Yahuwah had given rest to Yisrael from all their enemies round about, that Yeshua was old, advanced in years. And Yeshua called for all Yisrael, and for their elders, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers, and said to them, I am old, advanced in years, and you have seen all that Yahuwah your Elohim has done to all these nations because of you. For Yahuwah your Elohim is he who was fighting for you. See, I have divided to you by lot these nations that remain, to be an inheritance for your tribes from the Yarden, with all the nations that I have cut off, as far as the great sea toward the setting of the sun. And Yahuwah your Elohim thrust them out from before you, and shall drive them out from before you, and you shall possess their land, as Yahuwah your Elohim has promised you. And you shall be very strong to guard, and to do all that is written in the book of the Torah of Moshe, so as not to turn aside from it right or left, so as to not go in among these nations, these who remain among you, and make no mention of the name of their mighty ones, nor swear by them, nor serve them, nor bow down to them, but cling to Yahuwah your Elohim as you have done this day. For Yahuwah has driven out from before you great and strong nations. As for you, no one has stood against you to this day. One man of you put 1,000 to flight, for Yahuwah your Elohim is he who is fighting for you, as he has promised you. And you shall diligently guard yourselves to love Yahuwah your Elohim. But if you do turn back at all, and cling to the remnant of these nations, they that remain among you, and intermarry with them, and go into them, and they to you, know for certain that Yahuwah your Elohim shall no longer drive these nations out from before you, and they shall be snares and traps to you, and a whip on your side, and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from this good land which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you. And see, this day I am going the way of all the earth, and you know in all your hearts and in all your being that not one word has failed of all the good words which Yahuwah your Elohim spoke concerning you. All of it has come to you, and not one word of them has failed. And it shall be that as every good word has come upon you which Yahuwah your Elohim promised you, so Yahuwah does bring upon you every evil word, until he has destroyed you from this good land which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you. When you transgress the covenant of Yahuwah your Elohim, which he commanded you, and shall go and serve other mighty ones and bow down to them, and the displeasure of Yahuwah shall burn against you, and you shall perish quickly from the good land which he has given you. Chapter 24. And Yeshua gathered all the tribes of Yisrael to Shechem, and called for the elders of Yisrael, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers, and they presented themselves before Elohim. And Yeshua said to all the people, Thus said Yahuwah Elohim of Yisrael, Long ago your fathers dwelt beyond the river Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nahor, and they served other mighty ones. So I took your father Abraham from beyond the river, and caused him to go through all the land of Canaan, and multiplied his offspring, and gave him Yitzhak. And to Yitzhak I gave Jacob, and Esau. And to Esau I gave the mountains of Seir to possess, but Jacob and his children went down to Mitzrayim. Then I sent Moshe and Aharon and plagued Mitzrayim, as I did in their midst, and afterward I brought you out. And I brought your fathers out of Mitzrayim, and you came to the sea. And the Mitzrites pursued your fathers with chariots and horsemen to the Sea of Reeds. And they cried out to Yahuwah, and he put thick darkness between you and the Mitzrites, and brought the sea upon them and covered them. And your eyes saw what I did in Mitzrayim, and you dwelt in the wilderness a long time. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites who dwelt beyond the Yarden, and they fought with you. But I gave them into your hand, and you possessed their land, and I destroyed them from before you. And Balak son of Zippor, sovereign of Moab, rose up and fought against Israel, and sent and called for Balaam son of Beor to curse you. But I refused to listen to Balaam, so he continued to bless you, and I delivered you out of his hand. And you passed over the Yarden and came to Jericho, and the masters of Jericho, the Amorite, and the Perizzite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite fought against you, but I gave them into your hand. And I sent the hornet before you, which drove them out from before you, also the 2 sovereigns of the Amorites, but not with your sword or with your bow. And I gave you a land for which you did not labor, and cities which you did not build, and you dwell in them. You eat of the vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. And now, fear Yahuwah, serve him in perfection and in truth, and put away the mighty ones which your fathers served beyond the river and in Mitzrayim, and serve Yahuwah. And if it seems evil in your eyes to serve Yahuwah, choose for yourselves this day whom you are going to serve, whether the mighty ones which your fathers served that were beyond the river, or the mighty ones of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But I and my house, we serve Yahuwah. And the people answered and said, Far be it from us to forsake Yahuwah, to serve other mighty ones. For Yahuwah our Elohim is he who has brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the house of bondage, who did those great signs before our eyes, and has guarded us in all the way that we went, and among all the people through whom we passed. And Yahuwah drove out from before us all the people, even the Amorites who dwelt in the land. We too serve Yahuwah, for he is our Elohim. Then Yeshua said to the people, You are not able to serve Yahuwah, for he is a set-apart Elohim. A jealous El is he. He does not bear with your transgression and with your sins. If you forsake Yahuwah, and shall serve mighty ones of a foreigner, then he shall turn back and do you evil and consume you, after he has been good to you. And the people said to Yeshua, No, but we do serve Yahuwah. Then Yeshua said to the people, You are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen Yahuwah for yourselves to serve him. And they said, Witnesses. And now put away the mighty ones of the foreigner which are in your midst, and incline your heart to Yahuwah, Elohim of Yisrael. And the people said to Yeshua, Yahuwah our Elohim we serve, and his voice we obey. And Yeshua made a covenant with the people that day, and laid on them a law and a right ruling in Shechem. Then Yeshua wrote these words in the book of the Torah of Elohim, and he took a large stone, and set it up there under the oak that was by the set-apart place of Yahuwah. And Yeshua said to all the people, See, this stone is a witness for us, for it has heard all the words of Yahuwah, which he spoke to us. And it shall be a witness against you, lest you lie against your Elohim. Then Yeshua sent the people away, each to his own inheritance. And after these events it came to be that Yeshua son of Nun, the servant of Yahuwah, died, 110 years old. And they buried him within the border of his inheritance at Timnath Serach, which is on the mountains of Ephraim, on the north side of Mount Gaash. And Yisrael served Yahuwah all the days of Yeshua, and all the days of the elders who outlived Yeshua, who had known all the works of Yahuwah, which he had done for Yisrael. And the bones of Yosef, which the children of Yisrael had brought up out of Mitzrayim, they buried at Shechem, in the plot of ground which Jacob had bought from the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for 100 ketzitah, and which had become an inheritance of the children of Joseph. And Eleazar, the son of Aharon, died, and they buried him in a hill that belonged to Phinehas his son, which was given to him in the hill country of Ephraim.